Assalamu alaikum and welcome, my respected friends and viewers. Um, Today's topic is related to floods, which is quite a regular event. Couple of times a decade is devastating our economies, and especially the people who get into the path of this floodways. As I finalize these words, I can sense the heart of nation is once again with the Pakistani fellows battling the rising waters. For decades, our national response to floods has followed a painfully predictable script: devastation, displacement, and then a desperate scramble for aid. Yes, international aid. We have accepted our failure. We have accepted letting the miserable suffer in their sufferings time and again. But this acceptance must end now. Our people deserve more than this endless cycle. They deserve a nation that can protect them. This presentation is not another request for relief, it's a blueprint for a revolution in thinking. It's a plan to replace the old script with one of foresight, dignity, and prosperity. And if this cannot be done with the full might of the government, then perhaps it is time we, the people, the concerned engineers, the builders, the farmers, and the volunteers, begin this vital work themselves. We must lend our own support and build the momentum from the ground. This presentation is dedicated to every Pakistani who has suffered physically or emotionally. It is a demand that we finally say, this time must be the last time. The flood challenge, not an anomaly, but a recurring national crisis. Floods in Pakistan are no longer a rare event. They have become a recurring tragedy. According to United Nations News, 21 August this year, 2025, in 2022, unprecedented floods killed more than 1,700 people, displaced millions, and caused an estimated $40 billion in economic losses, wiping out crops, homes, and livelihoods. Every year, Punjab, Sindh, and Balochistan suffer the same destruction. While government often respond with media coverage and appeals for international aid, little is invested in long term flood solutions. Ordinary people remain trapped between rising waters and rising neglect. What we need is not another round of promises, but a people led strategy that converts this destruction into opportunity. Imagine if instead of floods bringing despair, they brought prosperity. Imagine if floodwaters could be diverted into dry land, filling canals, reservoirs, and deserts that otherwise remain barren. This presentation outlines a bold but practical vision, turning Pakistani floods into fertility, food security, and even future tourism. Human cost in 2010 and 22, for example, in 2010, approximately 2,000 deaths occurred, 20 million people displaced, according to WBA, World Bank, sorry, and NDMA reports. 2022 floods, 1,700 approximately deaths with 33 million people affected, 2.2 million homes destroyed. Economic devastation 2022 once again exceeded $40 billion according to the World Bank Damage Needs Assessment. This is approximately 11% of Pakistan's GDP. Crop losses 4.4 million acres of crops destroyed, including 65% of Pakistan's staple rice and 85% of its costs. The broken cycle, eight pledges, and the implementation gap. Pledges in 2022, we received approximately $10.9 billion it, at the Geneva Conference for Recovery and Resilience. As of late 2023, a fraction of these pledges had been converted into actual on ground projects. The National Disaster Management Authority, NDMA, has repeatedly faced audit questions in utilization of funds. A 2023 report by Pakistan Institute of Development Economics, popularly known as PIDE, highlighted the inefficiency and corruption in disaster management can siphon off up to 30 to 40% of allocated funds, preventing them from reaching intended projects and victims. So, why do floods wreak such havoc? The systemic failure, incomplete infrastructure, and reactive politics. After a long time during a period of Imran, some number of dams were initiated, but his tenure was shortened, and the projects seems to be delayed, slowed down a lot. Long delayed projects, including Dama, Bhasha, Mohammed, remains unfinished, losing vital storage capacity. Deforestation, Pakistan has one of the highest deforestation rates in Asia, according to WWF Pakistan, removing natural watershed protections, encroachments, unplanned construction or riverine floodplains, and natural waterways, nalas blocks water paths diverting floods into cities and farms. Siltation is another problematic area. Existing reservoirs like Mangla and Tarbela have lost significant capacity due to siltation, reducing their flood control ability. The visionary solution. So, what I am talking about today is do not fight the water, rather guide it towards the prosperity. How Pakistan's rivers, particularly Ravi, Satluj, and Chenab, act as natural gateways for floodwaters. When heavy monsoon rains combine with Himalayan glacial melts, these rivers swell beyond capacity, especially when India releases the water into these rivers. Existing dams and barrages, though useful, are insufficient, with many projects left incomplete. The result is devastation. Croplands vanish underwater, roads and homes collapse, and waterborne diseases spread in villages already suffering from poverty. Instead of waiting for each season's destruction, Pakistan must think how water is managed. Proposed sites are suggested in the slide, uh, including points such as River Ravi upstream of Shadarabad, Lahore, 31.6230 degree north to 74.3088 degree east. Satluj near Suleiman Ki headworks, Kasur, 30.5167 degree north to 73.5667 degree east. Chenab at Marala headworks, Sialkot, 32.6731 degree north to 74.2614 degree east, are the primary flood entry points. Once the flood is entered, they need to be channelized into substreams, and that's what we need, a network of canals. The proposed strategy is simple yet transformative. Divert floodwaters from their point of entry into Pakistan through a network of canals. These canals would carry excess water from River Ravi, Satluj, and Chenab to southward and westward into natural dry regions such as the Julistan and Thar deserts, as well as the barren lands in Balochistan. At designated points, reservoirs would be built to capture and store this water. These reservoirs would serve multitude purposes: irrigation for agriculture, groundwater recharge for sustainability, and new spaces for plantation and tourism. Instead of destruction, flood water flowing unchecked into villages, it would be redirected to give life to dry soil. Tree plantation around these reservoirs would not only stabilize the ecosystem but also create green belts. That's what happens in most of the developed countries. They create reservoirs, water reservoirs where families, people come for picnics, enjoy their time, and enjoy the serene environment. The goal is dual: control destruction in flood prone areas and that generate fertility, prosperity, and climate resilience in historically neglected regions of Pakistan. Multiplier benefits from survival to travel. Water is engine to economic growth. The benefit of this strategy are immense. First, it reduces flood risk by dispersing water into multiple controlled channels rather than allowing destruction peak flows. Second, it irrigates barren deserts, converting what wastelands into farmland and food producing regions. Third, reservoirs allow natural groundwater recharge, address Pakistan's water scarcity crisis, but perhaps most excitingly, in the social dimension, tree plantation and green belts around reservoirs can evolve into eco parks and family picnic areas. Instead of being seen as disaster zones, these areas could become center of recreation and tourism. Local communities could earn livelihood through tourism, handicraft, and ecotourism facilities. The environment also gains. Tree cover expands, soil erosion decreases, and carbon absorption increases. In essence, flood waters, once seen as a curse, would become a blessing, feeding both the land and the people of Pakistan. I was recently, yesterday, just listening to a TV panel review in Pakistan, which was telling that $7 billion, which are still waiting in pipeline for that, we have not submitted any plan that could have been released after the 2022 floods. So they are just sitting, waiting for action from our side, and we are just sleeping, which is just unacceptable, looking at the devastation the floods cause every time they come across. A proven concept, learning from global giants. We don't need to reinvent the wheel. Other countries are doing so. China's South North Water Transfer Project, for instance, the scale is diverting water from Yangtze River to the arid north. Can you imagine to what extent this diverts 45 billion cubic meters of water annually from Yangtze River to the arid north? Lesson: massive state led infrastructure can alter a nation's water destiny. This is not alone, this is not the first one. Egypt's Toshaka project use water from Lake Nasser to reclaim 500,000 acres of deserts for agriculture and create a new Nile Valley. So, lesson is directing water to desert can unlock immense agricultural protection. Pakistan in 2025, according to, I've tried to estimate the bulk volume from Indian side that came into Punjab rivers. According to authoritative reporting during the current crisis, given peak discharge at Pakistan's border headworks, Sutlej, Ganda, Singhwala, about 245,000 to 253,000 cusics. That's about zero point 0.60 to zero point 0.62 billion cubic meter per day. Remember, China is diverting 45 billion, and it is just at the Sutlej zero point 0.6 to zero point 0.62 billion uh, cubic meter per day. This is reported by Arch English TV and Sama TV. Chenab on Marala Khanki reach commonly about 150 to 200,000 cusics reported. That's approximately 0.37 to 0.49 cubic meter per day. Then Ravi at Jassa 80,000 to 120,000 cusics, which is approximately 0.20 to zero point 0.29 cubic meter per day, basic cubic meter day. That is reported by 24 News and Pakistan Today. If those peaks held together for 48 to 72 hours, typically the flood wave, the combined influx across the three rivers would be between 2 to 4 billion cubic meter total. If China can manage 45, cannot we manage 2 to 4? or even 5 cubic meters, billion cubic meters? Yes, we can. We just need a will to do so. We have billions and billions of dollars sitting, but for no use. We have not been able to even submit any plans. So, what I am suggesting or proposing is that whether it is led by the government, initiated, or it is by people, let people get involved. So, there is no corruption, no infringement, and real work completed. So, transparent trust, international and stakeholders' online oversight, and blockchain based tracking of funds to ensure zero corruption. Community adoption, villages and districts may adopt a canal segment, few kilometers, this city, few kilometers, another town, and few kilometers or a kilometer of canal by another village, and sponsored or co sponsored by the state or international foreign aid. Um, uh, to reduce the future impact of such devastations. Crops of engineering mobilize a national volunteer force of aqua engineers, students, and retired armed forces personnel for oversight. Legacy planting mandate that every kilometer of canal and reservoir periphery is lined with trees, creating a new green spine for Pakistan. Tree plantation and tourism opportunities, green belts around reservoirs. Tree plantation around reservoirs are not just environmental assets, they can transform barren regions into vibrant community hubs. Planting shade trees, fruit orchards, and even medicinal plants creates ecological diversity while offering economic value. These plantations can attract families for weekend trips, picnics, and boating activities. Reservoirs, if designed with ecotourism in mind, could mirror models from around the world, like Rawal Lake in Islamabad. We don't have to go even far. This approach generates jobs for youths through boating services, local food stalls, and cultural events. For global audiences, it would showcase Pakistan as an innovator in converting disaster into opportunity. Instead of being known only for flood tragedies, Pakistan could emerge as a pioneer of flood to tourism strategies, combining climate resilience with people's livelihood and recreational joys. The choice before us, option one, just continue the cycle. More deaths, more displacements, and more billions in losses. More debts, more begging for aid. Option two, invest in destiny. A one time strategic investment to create permanent water security, food sovereignty, and economic prosperity for generations. So, what are these options in a little bit more detail is that in case we opted for no action or option one, it will just result in more deaths, more displacements, and billions in losses, more begging for aids. And the second option is going to be a strategic investment to create permanent water security, food sovereignty, and economic prosperity for generations. Before I show you the potential long term vision to turn this crisis into fertility, we must address how to stop the bleeding, short term processes. Um, so, what urgent short-term measures needs to be taken? While we build the future, we must halt the bleedings, reclaim the natural drainage. Action mandatory nationwide operation to identify, map, and demolish all encroachments on natural nalas. I know it won't be easy, but how were they permitted at the first place? So government needs to stand. Government has done before removing encroachments. Why not now? Yes, you government also need to, and the funds are there available. 7 billion is sitting. Give them money to be replaced or settled in another places. Create them for them, but remove from these encroachments. Those are the pathways of flood plains. Riverbanks benefit allow floodwaters to flow freely, prevent catastrophic urban flooding like in Karachi and Lahore and many other cities. This is single most effective short-term action to save life. Demo, demarcate and enforce river floodplains. Use satellite imagery to scientifically demarcate and legally enforce the no build zone for all major rivers. What will it do? It will prevent the establishment of new settlements in the direct path of floodwaters. This protects lives, livestock, and reduces the need for future disaster relief in these high risk zones. And removing encroachments from places such as natural places and say nalas and drainage and rain stormwater drainages in the city area will ensure that the normal rainfall doesn't create any havoc, no standing of water on the roads and destruction of roads and infrastructure. Enhanced planning with technology, satellite terrain mapping. Before a single shovel hits the ground, we will use LiDAR, that is remote sensing technology, LIDAR, that uses a laser light to measure distances and create incredibly precise, high resolution 3D maps of the Earth's surface and satellite topography data to map the entire route with centimeter level accuracy. This identifies the most efficient pathway that calculates exact excavation volumes and minimizes the cost. For those who are interested in how does the lidar works, it's a sensor mounted on plane or satellites which fire rapid pulses of laser light at the ground and measures how long it takes for each pulse to bounce back. This creates a massive point cloud of data which is used to build a digital elevation model. Advanced monitoring system, we also need the entire canal and reservoirs apart from the flood entering points at the Indian border. Network will be embedded with sensors and IoT, Internet of Things, physical things, interconnected. Monitor to track water flow, salinity, seepage, and reservoir levels in real time, allowing the smart water management. For those who are interested in how does IoT works, imagine small solar powered sensors placed along the canal and in the reservoirs. These sensors constantly and in the rivers such as Ravi, Sutlej, etc. These sensors will constantly measure things like water level, flow rate, water quality, and pressure, and send this data to a central computer system in real time. Why it's crucial for our plan? It enables smart water management. Authorities can monitor the entire network from a desk, instantly spot a leakage or a blockage, automatically open or close gates to close water flow, to control water flow, and precisely allocate water resources based on live data. This maximizes efficiency and prevents waste. Strategic integration with existing systems. The Indus River conduit. Um, the long-term network must be integrated with the Indus River system. During period of extreme surplus, excess flood water from the eastern river Ravi, Sutlej, and Chenabs can be channeled into Indus using its existing capacity to carry water to the sea. Arabian Sea, while simultaneously allowing for offtakes to fill reservoirs in Sindh and Balochistan, along with Punjab on the way. In short, our planning will be driven by data, not guesswork. We will use advanced LiDAR mapping to find the most efficient pathways for every canal, ensuring we build it right the first time. And once built, the entire system will be managed with IoT sensors, creating a smart network that monitor itself and ensure not a single drop of water is wasted. People and community driven model. For decades, Pakistan has relied on aid and government promises after every flood only to watch the same cycle repeat. A true solution must be people led or people involved. Communities should be empowered to participate in building or maintaining or monitoring these canal and reservoirs, ensuring ownership and sustainability. Local nurseries can provide sapling for tree plantation, giving farmers and women led cooperatives an income source. Youth can be engaged in managing ecotourism, guiding visitors, and building small businesses around these new water bodies. This transforms floods from a curse into a catalyst for local prosperity. Instead of waiting for handouts, people can create a future where water security, food production, and tourism all rise together. The vision is simple but revolutionary, to see flood no longer as a tragedy but an opportunity. Only needed thing is the will and the doer mentality. The way forward. I am committing to channelize some sort of resource network from Australia once there is a platform inside Pakistan that generates, and I am sure organizations such as in USA that have helped Pakistan a lot before, and in Canada and other developed countries, diaspora, they will step forward to support, provided they knew for sure that corruption will not take away their money, and whatever they will be sending, each and every cent and dollar of it would be implemented, used in this plan. This is how we can turn our pain into power, our vision into reality. So please join us. Let us know, comment, and let us know what is happening, and all of us will get together to see this practical thing happen. With that, I come to my conclusion of today's vlog. You all take care, and I hope Pakistan gets out of this misery as soon as possible. Till my next vlog, it's bye bye for now. Khuda